So when you look at it, the same reason that psychiatry is a fraud, Masonry is a fraud. In other videos, I've gone over the fact that the highest form of knowledge or intellect is wisdom. Now let's look at martial arts, life philosophies, psychiatry, and secret societies, and let's see what they have in common. Well, we'll see what the most important thing they have in common, perhaps. And that is that applied wisdom is greater than knowledge. I'm sure I do not have to explain to you how there are many old martial artists who know a lot but cannot truly apply it. Not in a way that would allow them to beat somebody who could apply it more than masterfully. For this reason, I am far above the spiritual bottom feeders many of you are taught to respect. I do not know as much as they do, perhaps, but I apply the wisdom in a superior manner. Same thing with psychiatry. I do not know as much of the terms and the medications and stuff, perhaps, than they do, perhaps. Who knows? But I apply my wisdom in a superior fashion, so I behave in a superior fashion, superior manner. Martial arts. I perhaps do not know more than old martial art masters in China and so on and so forth. But they cannot beat me because I apply my wisdom in a superior manner. For example, how many fights do you see where you see people trapping arms and breaking joints and twisting arms and so on and so forth? Very, very rare. And when you see it, it is usually a martial art master versus someone who has no idea what they are doing. There's a reason for this. Because these moves are not really applicable in martial artists versus martial artist matches. Let's think about this now. When I took Taekwondo, we would call it promise fighting. You know why it was called promise fighting? Well, therein lies the answer. Because it is saying, I promise you I will do this move and only this move, and I will try not to hit you with it, ultimately. And I'll probably do it at a speed that you can, address. Obviously, I do not have to explain the wide variety of moves in martial arts and how that is almost completely irrelevant in a real fight. So, we go on to secret societies. The devil, their icon, their idol. He knows more than perhaps some angels do. Certainly more than people do, but he is the lowest form of life because his application of knowledge is very unwise. An unwise application of even the greatest database of knowledge, even the greatest collection of knowledge, will always be inferior to a wise application of even the slightest knowledge. Reminds me of the saying, too clever by half. Certainly applies in this situation. So what do you have when you see this pyramid with the all-seeing eye? Well, I think that the most common explanation of it is that, what you find in the New Age explanations and atheistic Satanism and so on, Luciferianism, is that the top triangle is not just one point. It's important to notice that. And this leads me to believe that this is what they're truly getting at. It's not just one point that they're doing this. It's a whole triangle. It implies that there's a place in society for people who have achieved God consciousness or God-like perception. Therefore, they have become like gods. It's a joke. See, what you're seeing play out here is perceived intellect versus perceived superstition. Okay? Misconceptions about intellect versus the misconception that there is nothing to morality and it's all silly superstition found in religion for the purpose of control. When in actuality, in reality, the morality is more important than all of the knowledge, than all of the IQs, people who score on the IQ test, high on the IQ test, all of the top inventors and scientists in history and what have you. The morality is far more important. God is good. He isn't knowledge. what keeps society, what will make the most functional society is love and compassion, not knowledge. Very little knowledge is needed. You do not need to acquire a great amount of knowledge to outperform those who have a great amount of knowledge. And that is why I've outsmarted all these gang stalkers day in and day out. Together they cannot beat me because of their perspective that has allowed them. You know they are inferior by their works. It has allowed them to sink to the low level of enforcing Babylonian social norms in a very immoral, unprincipled manner. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is worth more. It's more precious than diamonds and gold. Paraphrasing Bob Marley. Isn't it interesting how a musician who isn't known as a scholar, pretty much at all, perhaps a philosopher, to some a prophet, perhaps, but he is much more. He has a higher level of intellect than all of the Masons, than all of the Illuminati. Because wisdom is the most important thing. Now think about what's in that saying. What is in that saying? Let's break it down. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Now, can you gain the world without knowledge? Probably not. Not in this world. In a world where everyone loves each other, perhaps. In a world of love, perhaps. But not in this world. It implies that they have the knowledge to gain the world. Not just the money and power and someone offering it to them, but the knowledge. The knowledge to know that offer's there, to knowledge to do whatever it takes to, gain the world. So, at the end of the day, these people are beneath me, and their works scream it. They want to put me under their auspices, when I am the master. I am God's representative on earth, especially relative to the spiritual bottom feeders. By my works. Who represents God? I do. I fight evil. I spread the knowledge, the true knowledge that leads to wisdom, not knowledge that leads to stupidity, that makes one believe that perceived intellect is superior to true morality. I am God's representative on earth, and only a fool could miss that irrefutable fact. The proof is in the pudding. Thank you.